Hey guys, welcome back to the DG Amateur Hour with Marcus and Santos. We have a guest here today for episode 3, Tracy. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Tracy, so the people know who we're talking to.
My name's Tracy Hyde. I am I already screwed that up. I'm
You're fine.
local professional disc golfer. Been playing competitively for the last 2 years. Just won FPO locally last year, and just looking to improve my game this year.
Okay, when you say locally, have you cashed?
Yes.
So it sounds like you're not just locally a pro. You're gonna have to stick
You're
with
a
that,
pro.
right?
Oh yeah. No, I just like
On the scene, yeah.
Yeah.
In our local scene, you
Yes.
win a good amount of the event.
Well, I'd say she is 9 for 24. I just pulled up her stats.
Yeah, not FPO though, not yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. So 9 wins in 24 events is still quite a. That's quite a
pretty good.
successful rate.
Batting
See if we can
250.
break it down. You already doing the math, Marcus?
I mean, 8 out of 24 is it's over. It's over 330.
Yeah, you and your math, buddy. You're gonna find this out when he tries to do math without his calculator. It's hilarious. All
Yeah,
right.
it's all batting 330 in terms of win percentage. That's pretty good.
All right. So you got almost half your tournaments are FPO though. You got 10 tournaments as FPO.
Last year, yep.
Wow. 10 tournaments. in
Yeah,
one
last year.
Yeah.
That's more than I played in the last 2 years, probably.
Yeah. That's incredible. And how many of those were wins? Do you know?
Earned wins 0.
Wow.
Wow.
What does that mean?
I won Squala because no one else played.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have
All
one
right.
of those too.
I don't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Okay. I mean, if I'm looking here, it's a win. It doesn't say
Right.
how many people
Right,
are
right,
involved
right.
until you
So,
dig a little
yes.
deeper.
Yeah, I've got one win on my PDGA record, but no
That's,
one's in my division.
That's that positive thinking. You
Right.
win just by showing up, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
kind of like you at putting league. You just win by showing up.
Yeah, I think Tracy's won
3
3
out
out
of
of
4.
4 weeks of our putting league, which is what we do just before we come in here and record.
And unfortunately for her, they don't do tournaments indoors, so I don't think it translates that well when she's in her tournaments. She's not that successful.
No, that's
Where
why-
was your
that's
other
why
win?
I'm
You got. I see the honeybee.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There was a couple ladies there, right?
Forgot about that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, so I mean, we don't have to give you a complete breakdown of your credentials. You're a phenomenal player. You're FPO, sponsored by Dying to Disc Golf. As the only one so far, do you mind talking? Do you have aspirations? Do you want other sponsors? Has that crossed your mind? Because we just had an episode not that long ago where you talked about amateur sponsorships, and now you're basically pro level. But
I mean, it definitely has. I don't know what disc golfer doesn't think about it, because who doesn't love free stuff? But I think it comes down to doing a few things very well or doing a lot of things poorly. And I think I'd rather try to represent you guys and Northeast Women's Disc Golf a little better and focus my attentions there and on a few other projects. So.
very, very nice segue. Tell us a little bit more about that, the Women's Project, and what you're doing with it.
So I'm representing Western New York State with Northeast Women's Disc Golf. They're renaming it from New England Women's Disc Golf. And our goal really is to just get more women out playing competitively, especially get more women as tournament directors, assistant directors. Make sure that the TDs that are out there know that it's important to have fair women's tee pads. Women's tournaments tend to just be played from the same tees as the men's, and the scoring isn't necessarily encouraging for women to come out. So that's one of the goals, is to raise awareness and just get more women out there. So that's our focus there. Another project I'm working on is Women's Virtual Putting League, which this is the second full season that I'm running that. Started winter session in last year, so we started this time last year.
And did you run 1 or 2 sessions? I forgot.
So I started with
How'd
a
you do it?
winter session,
Okay.
and then it was so successful that I decided to do a spring session.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, so winter session was 8 weeks of competitive putting and 2 weeks of qualification putting just to kind of determine the pools that everyone was in. And then I did a faster spring session. Again, that was really popular, so I picked it up in the fall, and we did another 6-week session. So this is the big session
Okay.
that
Okay.
we're running, and it's grown from about, I'd say, 20 females to we now have 35
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
from all over
Well done, yeah.
the U.S. Yeah,
Oh wait! I said that. I made a post about that actually. Like,
Yeah.
there's women all over the country that are doing
Yeah.
this, and I was corrected
Yeah.
by you and Eric. This is international.
Oh, it is. Yeah, yeah. We have a good showing from Canada this time
you
around. And we also, I think it was spring session, had a putter join us from Sweden.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
So,
They're like the European market for disc golf and like pros is taking off. Like is massive, with the Europeans coming to the U.S. to play.
Yeah.
Like they're making a huge splash. So I think it's really cool.
How are they? Like, is this? You have a certain time to get your putting in that's recorded? Is it live? Like, because the first thing that came to mind was like time distance or time change. Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
yeah, so I run it Tuesday through Saturday, start of day your time zone through end of day your time zone. So that way we've got a lot of ladies on the West Coast putting. So they have until end of day Saturday, their local time zone. So that gives everyone 5 days to get your putts in. We run 2 weeks of qualification
Okay.
to determine the pools. And I did a lot of polling of the women that we had last session to get some ideas for ways we can improve it and make it more fair. So this time around, we've branched out. We've added a third pool. So we now have A, B, and C pools. And we're also doing wildcard weeks. So it's more, there's more pressure with the putting.
Yeah.
If every week we putt 50 total putts from different distances, wildcard week you get 50 putts to spend. And you can spend them in increments of 5. But you want the most bang for your buck. So if you know you're really consistent at 20, but not much farther than that, maybe you take all your putts at 20, or maybe you mix it up because each distance is a different set of points.
I like that idea.
So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of pressure. It's come down to the wire more than one time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Last winter, we gave away $500 in cash between 2 pools and I think $250 in prizes. And this session, we're doing cash only, and we've got $900 between 3 pools.
Wow.
Wow.
So we almost hit 1,000.
Yeah.
So maybe next time.
How are you paying out? How far down each pool, you know?
About half.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I like to pay down one more spot in the lower pools
Sure,
to try to
yeah.
encourage more women to come out and join. So I'm really excited this time around because it looks like we have a strong C pool, like more beginner ladies coming
Yeah.
out. So it's looking like that'll be a really competitive pool.
So I'm personally vested here. I have a question. I have my daughter and Justin, Bob down in Charlotte, and I'm part of that Charlotte page. And I'm always trying to just throw something in. That's the mecca of disc golf. Everything, at least West or East Coast mecca, is Charlotte. So I'm slowly dabbling and just trying to get our name out there in comments. And I did share your post there, and I saw a couple ladies were actually tagged because they were looking for something. Do you know off the top of your head? Do you have some locals from Charlotte that joined? Did they end up making it in time?
I think so. We've got some pockets.
Okay.
So the Charlotte, Atlanta, South Carolina, Georgia area is pretty hot. We've got a good dozen ladies participating from there. Pacific Northwest is really big as well. So Oregon, Washington State, there's a lot of disc golfers there. And then we've now added a lot of local ladies on the Canadian side, I'll say local across the border, which is nice.
Yeah, the ladies from Canada come down a lot for tournaments. I know I've heard from some they're
Yeah.
coming down for Winter Wizards in
nice.
February.
Nice.
One of them wants to start running a putting league. She contacted me because I run the putting league here.
Andrea?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in a couple of our tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing some really great things with the club up there in St. Catharines, which is really awesome to see. I think they go out in tandem with an experienced player and then a non-experienced player. They play around, they earn a free disc. They show up another time, they earn a second disc.
Nice.
They show up a third time, they get a third disc. So now they have a whole set. Putter, driver, mid, I think.
That's a good way
That's
to
a cool
start
idea.
it.
It's
I
pretty
didn't know
nice.
about that.
Yeah. And they do it at their local course.
Think of how many times, not just like with ladies, but how many times you say you'll offer free lessons or just play around with somebody who wants to know.
Yeah.
And they have this like, how many people don't have 30 or 40 discs in the back of their trunk that
Right.
not just like your backups, but you just have them there because you used to throw them. They're
Or
just
you get 'em from
decorations.
tournaments
You could
or
literally hand them
payouts.
to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've done that.
I would do that all the time.
I did that for my son when his friends automatically picked it up.
Yeah.
Not automatically. Somebody saw it. Somebody talked to Junior, and then they said, "Hey, let's play." And he was like, "Oh, wait a minute." And then my father, he is, and like next thing you know, I made 3 bags for some randoms. Like, here, just go play, and they
Yeah.
got hooked. Pinewoods and ECP 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Just laying around. Just do a friend if you want to help someone, and they're playing, and you think, hey, you've got these discs just laying around, hand it out to someone. Maybe you never know. I saw a T-shirt. I think Weiss was wearing earlier.
Yeah.
Teaching someone a sport for life.
It was like teaching
something like
kids the greatest game for a
For
lifetime
lifetime,
or something.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
It was a really
literally.
cool shirt. I saw that too.
Yeah, we've got young ones playing, right? We got old ones playing. 'Cause this sport
Yeah.
is for everyone, right? Actually, yeah. What do you
Yeah,
talk about it quickly?
yeah, we've got a pretty awesome spread in the women's putting league this season. We've got Hayden, who I believe was the 2022 PDGA Junior Women's Champ for the 8 and under bracket. She's putting with us, and then we've got some women in their 60s and up. So we've
That's
got
huge spread. Yeah.
yeah, a big
That's
spread, which is
amazing.
great. Yeah, and all skill levels. And surprisingly, most women have a PDGA number.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, so I've been tracking everyone's progress. We do stats, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Eric helps me out with the stats. So everyone, when they putt with us, when they're done putting, they get a screenshot of all the stats. So you can see, all right, I'm like usually 100% from say 15 feet and in. But then when I get to 20 feet, that's where I start to struggle, and maybe I shouldn't even be running these 25-foot putts. To give you an idea, so that when you leave, you know where you need to start working. And
I
in
know
the
I need to
tournament,
start working
yeah.
at 25 feet. I'm learning that more and more.
All you get when you show up to my doubles league is maybe a zucchini from Mike Cole's garden.
Hey, he gave out some peppers.
Yeah, the peppers
Those
are really
peppers
good.
were really good.
I know, you might get a pepper
We
from
made
Mike's
some stuffed
garden.
peppers from that batch. That
Yeah.
was really good. Some leagues you go, you pay your money, you don't place, you don't get anything, you go home wishing you did better. Here,
Mike
you
and
can
Marcus
walk away
Mini
with some
Monday, you get some peppers.
Very misleading with the minis. The mini Monday.
Apparently,
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
on where you're from in the U.S.,
Yes.
some people call their leagues minis. We don't around here. So I am running a league with someone originally from Maine, started playing in Maine. We called it Mike and Marcus Mini Monday because it's a good alliteration.
But you're not throwing
But you're not
minis.
throwing minis. And people didn't get that for like a month.
You're throwing your mini in to
Yeah, you put
make
your
your
mini
team.
in.
Yeah.
Put your mini in.
People
so
just
you
didn't get
decide
that for like a
teams.
month. And probably
I
still
didn't get
don't.
it. I was a part of it. I was helping to sponsor it. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, where do the minis come in place? You're at Como. How are you going to throw minis? Now we need mini baskets at Como.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
All
right, I wanna-
didn't even think about it.
Pivot again away from what we were going to. We have something we want to talk about. I want to pivot back to something Tracy said
Yeah.
before about scores and about TDs and about courses and course design
Oh, yeah.
for ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think I'm a good course designer. I like designing courses.
I'm very
And-
modest.
I think I'm a great course designer. I won't even say good. I think I'm a great course designer. I think. Have you
Okay.
played Revive yet?
Once, yeah.
Did you play the reds or the whites?
I think I played the whites.
Okay. Because I'm curious what your opinion on the reds are. Because I thought I designed the reds to be very fair for beginners, like under 300 feet throwing, 300 to 320.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't been back.
Okay.
We went the week it opened,
Okay.
and it was a little overgrown.
It's very overgrown.
Yeah, so we got a little discouraged because we ended up in the brush, and then we were just so busy with other tournaments,
Yeah.
we didn't go back. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well-
I would like to check out the other tees there and go back.
Because, so you were saying we know, me and Santos know from a TD perspective, it's very easy to use the same layout for the whole tournament. It makes your reporting very easy. If you just stick everyone on the same tees and send them out there, we know it makes your reporting very easy. And it makes it very easy to set up in the PDGA, which is why I think a lot of tournament directors would do that. I don't like doing that because that's no fun.
We actually
We
changed it.
we
towards
do
the end of
change
last
it. Yeah,
season.
we-
we went. Remember, we walked Bond with you
Yeah.
together, and we were
Yeah,
trying
we
to make
created
it
Yeah.
a more fair layout.
fair layout for the ladies. And it happened that we had to walk Bond because when Bond was created, they had white and blue tees, and
And it is a championship level course. The Blues
it's
are a championship level
phenomenal
course.
course. But I believe the intent was when it was put up is that it's not a beginner course. It's not for someone who's
No.
not going to throw far. If you want that, go to your smaller courses. Go to Bond to be challenged.
Go to Bond, go to Wilson.
But if you want to have a tournament there and the ladies want to be involved, then tailor it to them just a little bit more. Is what we thought.
Is what we thought.
What we came up with. We didn't like come up with it on our own. We asked our FPO on the team, "What do you think?" And she agreed. So we went, and I thought they were very fair.
Yeah, I wasn't at the event, so I don't know.
You helped mark.
But I helped mark them,
Yes.
but I didn't
Yeah,
play the event.
I thought so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Good for women and just
And beginner-
beginners.
yeah, we
in
had
general.
MA4
We put
player.
MA4 out there.
We had MA4 out there, so yeah, it definitely helped. It was this guy's first ever tournament.
Yeah.
And he absolutely loved it. And he was grateful because he played with some MA3 players, I think,
Yeah.
in the second round, who went to the whites, but he was throwing,
throwing
from
reds, our
the
reds.
Yeah, the reds that we created, and he absolutely loved it. Obviously, the disc golf group is part of it. Like, if you're in the right card,
Yeah, your
it's
card
amazing,
matters. Totally.
right? They understand that it's your first tournament, so they were really nice. But he also he felt more competitive because he was able to throw from the reds and
Yeah.
reds and
Yeah.
not have to try to bomb from the whites, which at Bond is a difficult scoring
Yeah, let me...
course on whites.
So I think last year we made some progress with that. In 2020, that was my first year playing tournaments, and when I would reach out to the TDs about the layout and if there were women's tees, a lot of times the response I got was, ladies play the layout that the men are playing. And everyone's concerned about a rating, and you don't want to bomb your rating and all that. But it was just discouraging because it takes you, say, like 3 throws sometimes to equal one guy's throw. And as a female player who's newer, it's just discouraging when you're out there. So one of the things that I tried to do last year was reach out to all the TDs who were running events and didn't already have anything posted in the description about separate women's pars or women's tees. And the response I got was really great. In fact, I worked with Mike Hahn in setting up the layout there for Honeybee, and I think we made a really great mixed layout for the women, especially considering how difficult that course is.
Yeah.
Eric Shaver was very receptive to some suggestions I gave him, and Jeremy last year did some really great mixed layouts as well, especially at Emory. So I think
Yeah.
it's starting to get there locally, which is good to see. So I just hope we keep moving in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
we can't go back, right?
Right.
We have growth.
If you've already done it,
We
you
have
can't
more
go back
women.
now.
We can't go back and just say it's easier.
Right.
It's a little bit more work.
It's
but
a little more work,
you
but
literally are
it-
putting together a team for your TD, right?
Yeah.
I don't know too many TDs are like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and everybody follow along. Most TDs have a team. They have assistant
Yeah.
TDs. They have friends helping. There are people that can help make your life a little easier.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. All the data's in UDisc to upload it to the PDGA to make your layouts.
Yeah.
It takes me less than an hour
Yeah.
to do. I don't know what for Emory. I did 3 or 4 different layouts across 2 days for a tournament. It took me like an hour.
Yeah.
That's not, and I know we get into the time is money, and what are you willing to sacrifice as a TD? How much money are you willing to lose?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
But to make your players' experience that much better, I think it's worth the hour or
Right.
so of your life
Right.
if you're already committed to being the TD of a tournament.
Most TDs aren't doing it to make an income. right? You're doing it because you love the sport.
Yeah.
I think for the female player, it makes a big difference, and
Yeah.
especially when a lot of women are already hesitant to come out because some of us are shy and we don't like throwing in front of people we don't know or in front of guys. We feel like we're being judged, and so a lot of that comes into play. And when you put the effort into making it a better layout for women, you're saying, I'm here, I care about you playing this event, and they're so much more likely to come back and play again.
Yeah, we really need to get the women more involved so that you don't have the situation which we've had a couple of times where you don't feel the full card, so you do have them throwing with some men. You want them to be comfortable with their
Yeah,
card.
playing on their own
But
card.
now the women that did play with men were completely comfortable, throwing with them. Even I think beating a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Tyler. Anyways, it happens, but it'd be nice. But something that I think needs to be talked about, what drives some of that, is not just the TD's willingness. There's something behind the scenes that's affecting them more, for the ladies who care about their ratings more than just playing, right? And I believe it's the propagator if you have the right one.
Yes.
So if you can explain it the way Bob does.
I don't know if I can explain what Bob does, but you always have a ratings propagator, so it's usually the highest rated player, to my understanding. Their round is used to then rate the other player's rounds, because you know what that player is expected to shoot, and then you can average what they shot off of everyone else. So it works usually for a 1,000 rated player. 1,000 rated player is your propagator. You know what a 1,000 rated round is supposed to be. So if someone beats the 1,000 rated player by 1, they're usually 6 to 8 points higher. If they are 1 stroke worse, they're 6 to 8 points lower. It gets a little muddier as you get down and have smaller divisions. So when you have everyone playing the same layout, you have a more even distribution of players, and your ratings are more accurate.
And I mean, it's not just taking like the best person's rating into account,
Right.
how they perform. Like each course kind of layout does have somewhat of a rating that they're
Yes.
weighed against. So there's more to it than that.
Yeah, so like for our local courses, we know,
Yeah.
At Bond Lake, from the blues, if you shoot even par, it's about 970. If you shoot Como blues, it's about 970 for par. Como whites is about 930. Bond whites is about 930. And you'll see courses across the country do this. Like Maple Hill specifically comes to my mind. The golds are rated 1020. If you can't shoot 1020 golf, you shouldn't play the golds. The blues are like 980, maybe.
Brutal.
The whites are like 940, and the reds are like 900. I'm estimating. I don't remember exactly. I think I know the blues for sure are 980 though.
Yeah. So
But I played
I don't know if it affects you personally or how much you track your ratings, but I do know that when we first discussed with Bob how we're going to do the reds, and remember it was like Life is Good, the first tournament,
Yeah.
and which ones to make them play, and he was talking about you don't have enough women for propagators. Now the first year we did it, we had like 20 women, it was the most at the time. Now that things have taken off, but at the time it was the most ladies for one of those events. So we had the propagators. Bob was surprised.
Yeah.
But then moving forward, like you need to make sure you have that at least in that card, if they
Right.
care about it, because they
If
can
they
see
care.
that they don't have enough people and they might drop out.
I mean, when we have, I think I fall in this category of like people just won't play Hawks for tournaments for rated rounds. Like there's
I've
certain
heard that,
courses
yes.
that
Ratings
are
killer.
that are rating killers.
Yes.
Like
the red,
I
white,
don't.
blue one, because if you don't match the red, you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like I don't play
I've heard
Hawks.
that, yeah.
I don't play Hawks Landing tournaments ever.
Yeah,
really.
I don't care about my ratings. I played that tournament because Bob literally was like, "Hurry up and sign up for this because it's gonna like fill up soon." And I always listened to Bob when he was here. Like,
Yeah.
he was my guide, and I just signed up and I played it, and I was like, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
care
it's a
about my ratings
great
at the
course.
time, but I
Don't
heard
get me
people
wrong.
afterwards, like they were distraught what happened to
Yeah.
the rating from that one.
Don't get me wrong. I love Hawks. Hawks is such a good course.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
To play casually.
Yeah,
But
I've played Hawks many times, and every time I'm there, I see the mini baskets, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I never
I
played
need
minis.
to just play one round of minis to see what life is like on a real course. We've played minis at LVC.
yeah.
They just have the temporary
The
course,
temp
and you're
course,
just like,
yeah.
but no drives, no real trees or anything in the way.
Right.
Doug, Mary will talk to you guys. Maybe we can film around with you guys with your permission. It would be nice to have an actual mini round now.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Marcus versus Mike with minis.
Marcus versus Mike with minis on Monday.
On a Monday, maybe we can make that work. But yeah, have you ever played?
I can't throw
have you
minis.
ever played minis at Hawks?
No.
You can. I mean, there's.
I can't throw minis for the
It does,
life
but
of me.
there's so many minis that you could choose from.
I can throw macros.
No macros.
Exactly.
Macros
You
is
can't.
cheating,
You can't
right?
use macros. Yeah, you got to use real mini
that's cheating.
markers.
That's cheating.
I
No,
can't
minis.
use. I can't throw those for anything.
But there's so many different minis.
But
There's
for the
the
life of me,
lightweight,
I
the
can't-
heavy. I have a Berg mini that really
I know.
does
I can't
really
throw
fly
them.
well.
I can't throw them.
Okay, so it looks like
They
we're
just
gonna have
fall
to,
out of my hand.
Okay, we're gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to record that too. If that's the way it happens.
I'm gonna jump putt down every fairway.
There's nothing wrong
Kind
with
of what
that.
it is.
Yeah,
It's pretty short holes.
No, go
one
watch
tournament,
Anthony Varela
Alicia
throw
off
a
the
mini.
tee threw her disc, her real disc, into those baskets. They call it a cookie
Yeah.
ace.
Yeah.
She got 2 in one tournament.
Really?
Who did?
Alicia.
Really?
Yeah.
No, go watch AB throw a mini at Mini Worlds. That
Why
dude
would I watch AB do
smashes
anything?
them.
Why would I watch it?
It's hilarious how far you can throw
For the
a mini.
record, as we progress in our podcast and you learn a little bit more about us, I am an amateur and I don't yeet the disc 500 and 600, 700 feet. I don't. So if I'm going to a tournament like LVC or Ledgestone, I'm gonna watch footage of the women playing, and I watch, aside from Paige who's crushing it 450, and maybe KT, most of them aren't throwing that far. So I watch how they attack the course, I watch how they play the course, and I try to mimic that, and I try to follow through with that. So don't get me wrong. I watch the men's. Obviously, they're more entertaining. They're bombing.
I don't know if they're more entertaining, but
It's entertaining to see a disc go up in
it's
the air
entertaining to
and
see a
wait
disc
10 seconds
go
for it to come
800
back.
feet. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that part of it, like entertaining down to the wire, the battles with
Yeah,
KT,
but either way,
Paige,
yeah.
and those are amazing. Just up there with Paul and Ricky and everybody
Ricky, yeah.
else. Those are good. But if you want to see a disc just go in the air and just sit down and have time to talk to somebody before it lands,
Yeah.
then you can do that. But I'm
mean-
not going to watch AB throw something that I can't. He can launch a mini farther than I can my driver. I have no interest.
See, I've always been, and maybe I'm curious to get Tracy's opinion on
Mm.
this. I've always watched the men more because when I started playing, I started watching disc golf. I saw Eagle. Eagle was like 16 or 15. And I was like, I'm built like this kid.
Okay.
And Shoestrick, and I don't know who else. AB was tiny at that point. But I was like, I'm built like these guys.
I mean, Simon was kind of small back
Simon
then,
was
too.
a little smaller,
Yeah.
but he's tall and long.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could do this. So then I've always been like driven to get better by watching the men because I'm like, I'm built like this.
Okay.
You don't need to be built like Avery. Like you don't need to be huge to throw a disc far. You just need to be mechanically sound.
Obviously,
So
that's
I've
what
always
Paige
watched-
has proven.
Paige has proven that, and,
her form.
and Paul has proven that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm curious. So when you always say you watch the women play, because they are more in my distance range.
Right. I'm going to watch how they
But-
attack a course that I'm going to play.
But for me, it's always been I don't go watch men's league Sunday soccer if I'm going to watch soccer. I'll go watch the Premier League. I want to see someone do something better than me.
Okay.
Is the way I've always
Okay.
is just the way I've always thought about it. So I'm curious.
For the record, every single one of those FEO players.
Right, I was just gonna say.
So I am watching somebody better than me.
Yeah. I mean, when
Just
I
saying.
started playing disc golf and then watching disc golf, I definitely watched the men professionals play more, like all the time, because I think it was hard to find FPO coverage.
That was also true.
And last year they really stepped it up quite a bit. So I actually now prefer to watch the women because that's more attainable and it does give me ideas to see, okay, I don't have to play this hole. You don't have to play every hole to get a birdie. You can play some holes for par. That's
Right.
okay. Play to your strengths. And I think with women's disc golf, there seems to be more strategy
Yeah.
on a lot of those.
Yeah, there's a lot less throwing a 500-foot hyzer on every hole,
Yeah.
which is course design and where in the country you are, where in the country they're playing, all that changes. So,
I mean, you're definitely seeing it now. I mean, you've got Evelina Salonen, Paige, you've got Kat Murch,
Yeah.
and even Katrina Allen throwing, and Jennifer Allen too, throwing 400 plus a lot. But for most of the other women, if they're going to get there, it's going to be like downhill full flex or something. So
Right.
it's just, not the same.
And they're good. They do it for a living.
Yeah.
These
They do
women
it
are
for a
good.
living, yeah.
So,
But I mean, you want to? I just Evelina. You say Evelina, I think miss putts.
oh God, I knew you were gonna say that. You could have.
Like I can go watch myself miss putts.
You know,
I did all night.
Right, but it's realistic. Because
Yeah.
you're watching her and you're watching her putt and you're thinking, okay, is it something that's running through her mind? Is it the mechanics? Did she not set herself? Is she rushing? Did someone distract her?
This happened.
So-
we can say this happened more recently in the last years.
It was
when
the
she
last
had a real
2
downturn,
years,
right?
yeah.
Before that, who were you thinking of that was duffing those shorties?
Kona.
Okay, I was thinking maybe Cat Allen because we have a Bobcat.
Oh,
We call
yeah.
him Bobcat Allen for doing the same
I mean,
thing.
I would even say Shoestrick though. Like not even just the women. Like Shoestrick just is not the best putter.
Right.
I mean, he's a U.S. champion. Like I'm not saying he's not good, and he dealt with a lot of injuries, dealt with a lot of back injuries.
Yeah.
So that also could have played into it for a long time. But
Poor Evelyn.
when I started, it was Shoestrick and Paul Macbeth. They were the ones battling, and I was just like, I want to watch Paul.
How
Paul
long did
Ma-
you start? Just to remind people.
I started watching in 2015,
Okay.
2015 or 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like Paul and Shoestrick at some tournament. Maybe it was the.
Is that when Nate was? Doss was
Dolph was
finishing up?
still playing? Yeah,
on the back end of?
he was on the
yeah.
end of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long have you been involved watching, doing?
I've been playing on and off since I think 2018. Probably started watching coverage 2019, 2020, maybe.
Yeah, when I stumbled into Bob at Beaver Island on hole 18, and he gave me all the information about disc golf. He said, this is how you throw. He was really cool about it, but then he gave me all the internet, all the information I could use. Go to YouTube, find this, join this group, and I immediately took it all in. Like, I was there with my son, my nephew, a friend. We had like 5 or 6 people, but I was the only one that was like, I was amazed because we were throwing frisbees out there from the tee pad and just, whatever. And then we walk up to one guy who's just constantly throwing lasers to the opening. And I'm like, who is this guy? He asks us to record him, and we do. And he was like, you want me to record you? And I'm like, no. He's like, I'll show you how to throw. Oh, cool. Gave me the information. And so it's like 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
More than
I think it's about, maybe we're going on 4.
4 years is before the pandemic. So.
Yeah. So we're going on 4 then. Yeah. And that's when I started watching the videos. Immediately he gave me everybody to watch for it on YouTube. He started out with like Paul and Ricky and all that. And I was like, he had aspirations of me throwing a lot farther than I knew I was ever going to do it. So when we got to my first tournament, which was LVC, I watched the men's and then I watched the women's. And I immediately was like, no, thank you. The women are exactly what I'm going to try to do. Try to play smart. And it's something we talked about with Bob. I guess women are just better at realizing and accepting their limits. Whereas, like with Bob, Bob won't throw his crave because it's a pride issue.
It's a psychological thing.
Yes.
Like
he knows his crave is the one to go to, but he won't throw it because somebody might think otherwise or say something.
See, that's crazy because a crave's a great disc. But like this is just I'll just give an example of something I've said out loud to my coworkers. And this is just a psychological difference. I think I could get in a NASCAR and drive it.
What? What? Sure you can. Maybe at 70 miles an hour. You're not going to do it at the 150 and 200 miles an hour they're doing it at.
But I'm saying that's a psychological difference of like, I think I can throw 500 or 600 at some point if I keep working at it. Like, that might not be realistic.
Okay.
I might not have that.
Okay. If you say so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you say so.
Like, but that was just my example of the psychological
it's
difference.
nice to have goals.
What? And you think women don't say, one
think
day I'm
that-
going to throw 400 feet?
Right.
Do you?
Not someday, but like, I think I understand saying I can drive a NASCAR right now is crazy.
It is.
But I believe it.
So
And I'm not lying when I say I believe it.
at our first LVC, Jen Allen, Nate Sexton, and Gigi was there, and a couple other people. And they talked the bombing of Jen Allen and Gigi. And I literally asked Nate, because he does not throw anywhere near as far as them. And I said, Nate, at some point, do you accept that you're not going to throw far? And do you just manage your discs and what you're going to do? Or do you continually want to throw farther? And his answer was something along the lines of, yeah, I want to throw farther, but I'm just not going to. So he accepted his limit at some point. So I just accepted mine early.
I think
It's like, I got bad form. Like, I'll work on it, but...
I think Nate doesn't have perfect form. Nate's reach back's too early. He's a
You're
little...
gonna,
Yeah, I am.
you're gonna critique
His reach back's
Nate's
too early.
thing.
He's a little too hunched over this way.
You're really going to
Yes.
critique Nate Sexton. Okay.
Does he throw 600?
Because he wins.
Yeah, he wins. Sure.
He wins. Didn't he have like one of the longest streaks for money?
Yeah,
Making
one
a
of the
cut?
longest cash streaks.
Yeah.
Because Nate's Safeton.
Okay.
And he has a 400-something foot forehand, which Gigi does not have. Jen Allen does not have.
So you,
Paul does
this
now.
whole
Paul didn't.
conversation we had about the women and Tracy and FPO, I'm just going to take away that you think you can critique Nate Sexton and you can drive a NASCAR. That's all I'm going to take away from this.
That's all I need to take away from it.
Jesus. You are the personality for the podcast, I'll tell you that. What else can you do? I need to know.
I can't cook, I'll tell you that. No, it's one of those things.
Obviously,
If
I
you,
can do that.
If you just like look at slow-mo of Simon and Sexton, you can very easily tell the difference in their forms and what makes one work and what makes one not work.
No, I disagree. There's so many different forms. I know we've had this
We've had this
times.
conversation. There's not. There's
so
one.
many different forms in how people reach back and how they throw and how tight they are and what they're doing.
None of that
But
matters
A lot of them reach.
as long as you
do it, it works.
get to the right 3 points in your throw at the correct time. If you get your hips engaged at the right time, the disc into the power pocket at the right time, and in the right place in the power pocket, and that's it. You can reach back over your head like G does. You can reach back in the ground like Eric Oakley does.
GG does the big slap down, reaching
Right.
from here,
Right.
and the other people do it down
Well,
here,
yeah.
almost up, holding their pocket while they're reaching back and doing like. I just
doesn't-
think those are different,
They are
but
different.
they're getting the same results. You're saying they're all the same because they're hitting 3 points.
No, this part's not. This part's different.
Okay.
This part's the same.
Okay. All right.
That's what's important, is how you get into the hit.
Okay. Are you working on that? Are you trying to get more distance by doing that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I want to focus on this off season, if you call it.
We don't really
off-season.
have an off-season here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to hit 300 someday, but I think that it's more reasonable this year for me to say consistently over 250, between 250 and 275. I think would be good.
I was gonna see. That was my next question. You have you ever hit 300, or you want 300? Like I've hit 400 a couple times. I'll never.
How far downhill?
You were there. It was for the tournament. You saw me.
Where?
At the Point Series Championship.
Oh, at
And it wasn't downhill. And I remember you saw the first throw,
yeah.
and Mike Hahn told you he just made that throw. I forgot what hole it was. And you were like, oh, well, it was a tailwind. And then we immediately went on the hole going right back.
Yeah.
And I reached into a strong headwind. And that's when you realized I actually got that.
Yeah.
Like, that was the one tournament where I was bombing.
Yeah.
Never done it since. Can't throw that far. So I personally have, I want to throw 350 on golf. You know what they say, golf distance,
A
right?
golf line, yeah, like a hyzer
Golf
flip to
line,
flat.
I want to throw that regularly. If I'm throwing 300, 325, or something in between, it's something to work on. So have you hit 300, or you're bombing different things? Or is it that you're just gradually saying, okay, I'll hit this on the golf line, and then I'm going to keep trying to work my way?
Well, just personally right now, I'm having trouble engaging my hips because I had a back injury like a decade ago.
I know, right?
And everything they tell you in physical therapy is to never rotate the abdomen while you're leaning at all. So I've got
Which is how you-
10 years of PT to get out of my mind to try to really engage the hips more. So it's possible. Hole 10, Emery from the white tees, I got to the edge of the circle.
Yeah, that's 4. That's
It's downhill,
downhill.
a little. Yeah.
But from the whites, that's like 3.
Emery? That's the when you cross the
Hole
street?
10, yeah. Yeah, that's the first hole across
It's
the
like
street.
350.
Yeah, I was outside
have
circle
the disc on this.
I
1.
have you disc here. I'll check. It's like 350.
It's a good pull. You've
Yeah.
done it, yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
disc?
happened.
Do you mind asking? Let's talk about your discs a little.
A diamond. A
diamond.
diamond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you subscribe to the
Sorry, it's 320.
320?
I guess I don't.
So she hit 300. She's in the circle.
Yeah, around 300.
Yeah. So, do you subscribe to the theory where you have like one mold of a main driver beat in at different levels, or do you have different drivers? Like Justin has 5 forces. I have 5 different drivers.
I had
from
5
most table
destroyers.
class. Yeah.
I
Well,
used
not
to.
anymore. You don't.
I used to.
I'll say I have discs that I favor. There are a few that I've hit too many trees with that I definitely notice get a little flippier, but I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm not too picky. As long as I can get it to do what I want it to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I have the problem of having too many discs and trying to like get the one that I know will work to constantly work, and then I know I have the self knowledge to know that my form has something to do with some of them. So I'm like throwing a disc well, and then I just not throwing it well anymore, and I'm like, let me try another disc. I know some of it has to do with me as much as the disc selections, beating them in, doing whatever. So I struggle with just. I don't want to say struggle because it was
No,
Bob
you
who-
struggle.
No, I don't want to say struggle because Bob said it was a good idea because trying to be a retailer, trying to grow, you want to have knowledge with the
Sure.
discs. So he told me about someone who has a shop in Charlotte. Like every 6 months, changes his bag. So
Another
he can,
round?
It might have been.
Because I mean, he's
Every
just
6
like
months, he changes his bag.
every day on Instagram, it's him throwing some new disc.
Yeah.
And
So
trying to ace with it.
So yeah, Bob was like, no, just learn that and just play with different discs and see what they do.
I
and
think
then
you need to hit a certain
eventually
point.
find one that you just like and then keep that one, but just keep cycling.
I think you need to hit a certain point of consistency with the discs you like before you can start messing around and trying new ones.
Yeah.
And I think you would benefit from a manufacturer sponsor, so you have less options.
Forcing me.
You have less options. Like I mean, I like that having a manufacturer sponsor now because there are so many good discs where I would just be like, yeah, I'll just grab this and throw it, and it works. But there's just like, why would I pick one over the other? Why would I pick an Explorer over a T-Bird?
Being sponsored has never once crossed my mind. It was never a goal of mine. And if I had to say, yeah, I'd like to try something like that, my first one would be Infinite so I can throw different molds.
Yeah, same.
I can't imagine.
But Infinite, they
Not
have
necessarily just being a amateur
percentage-based
doing what
bonuses.
I do. I just think that you limit yourself as an amateur if you're just going to say, I want to throw one mold.
We've talked about this.
I just feel like you're limiting yourself just a little bit. You know, I don't know. Can you get it
Well,
done?
if you're not getting the kickback, if you're, we've talked about this, if
Yeah.
you're Lone Star not getting a kickback, but I'm getting a kickback for throwing
Right.
their
Right.
discs.
Okay.
So,
That part I can see. I just, it never crossed my mind. I never,
Yeah.
from the time I picked up a disc and learned how to throw, it wasn't, I'd like to be sponsored and see what's happening in this world. I didn't even want to sponsor people when I started this
Right.
journey. I didn't know anything about it. No, you know, we created a team, things happened, and you got started to retail, and things just, you know, we're doing a podcast now. Like,
yeah.
years ago, I wouldn't have thought of trying this, but it's having a strong team of people who are involved in doing so much. The ideas just keep coming up, and we just keep trying to push it, not just for ourselves, but for our friends and people that we get to know, the acquaintances we make while we travel and hit
Yeah.
certain spaces. Like, trying to help each other get sponsored. We got quite a few players who are sponsored by other
Yeah,
teams.
now
that
I've
we
picked
talked
up quite a bit of sponsors.
If your goal, you're thinking someday, your focus is on one that you have right now, but you never know if they come knocking on your door. If somebody reaches out to you and tells you you should, what do you do then? I mean, that's basically what we did, right? We knocked on your door.
Yeah.
so-
That wasn't something that ever crossed my mind. I was just playing and trying to get better and have fun.
Yeah. And we try to keep it fun. I mean,
We do try to keep it fun.
I did warn you in the beginning about our group chat.
Yeah.
And said like, it's very sibling rivalry-ish.
Yeah.
You have to be able to survive it.
Yeah.
And because it's a podcast and I can swear, I won't say who, but you said about someone, just call him a pussy and let him play me and Lisi and we'll destroy him. And that was the moment I knew you belonged. We were just talking.
That was a long time
we were
ago,
just
yeah.
talking a lot, like, you know.
It was a long time ago.
It was, and it was in fun where you make fun of people. You say whatever. It wasn't to hurt anyone's feelings, but the way you said it was perfectly timed with exactly what we would say to each other and about other people. So we're like,
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about tiptoeing around Tracy. We know she fits in now. When I first
Yeah,
met you,
I think
had to
that's the
warn you.
impression a lot of people get because there's like work Tracy and then there's fun
I guess
Tracy.
we don't know work Tracy.
Right, yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
I always come off like kind of more prim and proper and, but I like to think I'm kind of laid back and can have fun and I don't know. I have
Definitely.
an older brother, so I'm used to a lot
Yeah,
of that
Right.
stuff.
Definitely going to have fun and I mean, even Gambini was impressed in that. When you guys meet him, it takes a lot to impress that guy. He has no filter, so that meant you fit in. But yeah, the sponsorship happened because your name came up. They're like this.
So you were winning.
Yeah,
You
Like,
were
wait,
winning tournaments, and we were like,
we saw
who
that
is
name
this?
again. Like, who is this person? And that's how the names get brought up. We've said it before. It's not just about winning. It happened that we saw your name, and then we talked to you, and we saw how you were involved. You're running the women's virtual putting. Like, you're doing so much more outside of that, which is amazing. But we want to help, and we want to help you grow, and then whatever you need for stuff like that. So that's our operating model right now. We're not taking applications. We're just reaching out. And
Yeah.
if somebody else, I mean, there are people out there who might, for one of these other bigger manufacturers, reach out. It might not be somebody just saying, "Hey, come apply." It might be saying, "Hey, Tracy, we see what you're doing, and would you be interested?"
Yeah.
You never know. I
Who
mean,
knows?
you might wake up tomorrow and just have something on you where you just say, "I need to be sponsored by Infinite," because
Right.
now we've talked about it enough. You carry a pretty mixed bag, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I know some MVP, some and the diamond. So
Trilogy.
yeah.
Yep. A little discraft. Yep.
What's our
Getting
call
a little
to
bit
action?
of everything.
What are we telling them to do? Tell me that I can't drive a race car? Comment down below if you think I can drive a race car. We're about at time for today.
Oh, we are. Okay,
Yeah.
good. No, that's not the call to action. Tell him he cannot critique Nate Sexton. That's what he cannot do. You have a better chance of driving a NASCAR than telling Nate what he can or cannot do in his form.
I'm just telling you.
We're allowed to have opinions here, but that one is so far out, I can't back you on it. I just can't. You're on your own there, buddy.
All right.
All
Let me
right.
know in the comments.
So we appreciate you guys joining us. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks.
We're going to put any information you give us to share with the virtual putting and the information and what we can in the links and the comments or whatever we're going to do. Marcus takes care of that. And I'm sure we'll have you on again before the season kicks off. The goal is to try to have this podcast happen just about weekly in the off season. And then when the season kicks off, it's probably bi-weekly, so we'll have you back. And we'll talk more about some of the things that you're going to be doing during the season.
Cool.
Right on.
Sounds good.
No,
All
that's
right.
it. I can drive a
Thanks.
race car.
Thanks for...
Did you know NASCAR spelled backwards is NASCAR?
Oh, God. You were horrible at math, and now you're just horrible. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.